Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel, and in this one we are chucking rocks because this is the reworked Taliyah jungle on live with all of those massive changes that would have taken you about 3 hours to read through last night in the patch notes. Now, to that end, I'm not going to go over all the nitty-gritty detailed numbers, you know, the small changes and quality of life changes and the small buffs to the cooldowns and the nerfs to the cooldowns and so on. Essentially, what you need to know is that the reworked ground is really different, because if you queue over reworked ground, now she will be chucking a boulder on that, and obviously her W does no more damage, as we got an absolute level 1 Fiesta here, and her E is bigger and has an anti-dash component. You do not want to be dashing in that E, so this is an absolute Fiesta level 1 here, reminiscent of the Korean servers of old. Burn damage from the Ignite will not allow us to die. Ooh, just about. That's why you chug your pots in these level 1s. Alright, can we play the game now? Can we get to it? Can we? Okay. You have there the Dark Harvest room page. You know, nothing has really changed in that regard. You still have the movement speed passive, a nice little bit of quality of life change to that as well. And we're going to be much slower to start in this particular game, which is great. Alright, this game is a great example of how strong the champion can be. Now, her data in the jungle isn't quite yet perfect, because obviously a lot of people are learning the new way. A lot of people are actually struggling to apply it to the jungle. She has had a much better time in the mid lane, as we see Grave just sneaking on up over here, so we know exactly where he is, which is good. So you have to play accordingly. But this game will have a nice and equal gold lead until a break-even point where the Taliyah will take over the game, which is kind of what you want. You know, you want an equal back and forth, you want mind games, you want people to play junglers and champions to that limit, and then see exactly how you can actually carry it at the end of the day. So, this ward is good and basically life-saving from that level 1 nonsense. Bottom lane, let's see what sums we have. None at all. So you could look to go for a cheeky early gank here, but obviously Q into E is what you want. And just to jump back to the Grumpier, you can see now once we'll have the W, you'll see the full combo, the reworked ground animations. There's a whole different strategy in terms of using that reworked ground up, because before you just have the one little chucker, you know, one little pebble that didn't really do anything. It was quite annoying. So to bring it back to mid lane, they added that sort of boulder that you're going to throw. For the E, you would have seen it significantly bigger, and obviously if you dash through it, you will be stunned, which is exactly what you want when you are becoming the Poppy of the mid lane. Graves here does his red into his Raptors, 8 CS, moves on for this dive here, knowing that there's no CS, there's a crashing wave, cannon wave. He's going to do that. Taliyah's going to finish the wolves, but she wanted to finish the wolves, but she should not, just to rotate, which of course she is, which means we can play cleaner perhaps here. The E will be very good, and now the Graves can't dash. See? He dashes, he stuns. Perfect, exactly what we want to see. Rotation from the Victor to come on down as well. The particles aren't exactly loading as perfect, because, you know, that's always the case. Can we chuck it? Probably should have just left. But overall, really good. You know, I know a lot of you want to finish the wolves. I want you to finish the wolves. The wolves want to be finished off. But you rotate. Go pick up the kills. Get yourself going. And obviously, it's not perfect because, as you can see, we don't get any kills from it. But Dark Seal, Amtom, all of the normal... You're playing Taliyah very much in the same way, okay? Except the big difference is, can you see that on the left there? See, there's a lot of things. They wrote a lot of things down for this rework. Same for the Olaf. It's big changes. The nitty-gritty details will be more noticeable to seasoned Taliyah veterans, but those of you who are not sort of experienced at Taliyah and are still kind of just learning to play her right now, you're not going to notice much of a difference in terms of the raw way you play the champion. There's a lot of quality of life changes as well to make it more fun to play overall, which is what they wanted to do, and a lot of people are agreeing with this. Lucian has killed the Quinn, and now, of course, dashes on the E and gets stunned. The secondary ability for stuns is huge. Obviously, we have our W, right? Our W does what it's always done, but now we have the E to add into that as well. It's not just a slow, it's literally an anti-dash component. It has an anti-dash component. It is an anti-dash ability. We're going for a dive here. Now, Graves... You're seeing the E is just doing beautiful work here. You're seeing no one really read the patch notes to understand that they can't dash on this E anymore. And of course, I have the big changes next to me, so I'm going to have a few more cuts here. But look at this. What she's going to do now is there's reworked ground that you cannot see. And what she's going to do is consume that. And then she will chuck a boulder that does your double damage and, of course, slows the target. It's about 225 AoE radius. For those of you who don't know what that means, don't worry about it. You will get a good example here. There you go. See, a big boulder gets chucked. It consumes the worked ground. And now if she was to Q again, it'd be the same as the first Q, okay? So it removes the little pebble you used to chuck. And of course, Lucian is once again over pushing, fighting here the Quinn, and we're going to move on up. Hello, sir. May I chuck some Qs? Let's have a look here. I mean, I hate this a lot, but the proximity assist is always very valuable. Now, he doesn't have Ignite. He's really killed the Quinn twice, and now he's died 3 times as well. So we're going to let her be, obviously. Bot lane is going diving against the Ezreal and the Bud. Whoa! Magical journey. Indeed. Good job, sir. Well done, Bud. Ugh, this replay glitch where it kind of puts the things underneath the replay when you skip forward and back in time is really irritating. Hopefully they can fix that next, along with this rework. So we're still maxing into the Q. Nothing weird there. You're still going for the early Soul Boots. Nothing has changed. You're still getting Ludens. None of that has really changed, you know? So definitely go read those full details if you have played it before, just to really fully understand the shifts and cooldowns and so on. But so far, that is the core thing. See, now, there's a D, right? And you saw the W, which doesn't do damage anymore, obviously, but it still provides a knockback into the E, which is, of course, now a really long sort of radius. But that's standard Taliyah stuff, right? Except the enemies have to think about your E. And that's the thing. If you place it perfectly, in teamfights where normal champions would want to dash and escape, they cannot. They will be stunned. And when they're stunned, it's way easier for you to hit your W. I mean, that's broken in terms of an ability for the dashy meta that we're in. It's absolutely broken. Great trap, right? No longer conditional on hitting this W whatsoever. And if they want to escape, they cannot. So it's like, I'm not going to throw out my W. And even if you want to avoid my W, you're going to be stunned anyway. So the mind games a little bit with the Q and the E relationship should be very, very interesting. And everyone, of course, knows the very classic W combo that we used to run all the time. But so far, I'm liking what I'm seeing. 415, 14,000 to 13,000 cash mini gold. Victor's rotated to the top lane to kill the Lucian, and now we'll hold this wave. We can go straight to the mid lane. Obviously, the movement speed, passive, the way you kind of knew Taliyah, that's exactly the same. I mentioned there was a quality of life. Let me just give you the exact numbers for those of you who are interested. The bonus out of combat movement speed is less at the beginning, but more later. And the fall off time when you're not in your terrain is now 2.5 seconds versus 1 second, which means once you move away from your passive, okay, here we go. Ultimate usage, obviously lower range at the beginning, bigger range later on. We're still using it to move around the map. Graves is diving. Excuse me while I was explaining the change in passive here. Again, do you think they'll learn? Nice knockback into that for the stun. You know, she's going to flash over the wall here. I think this is worth just because of the angle and the range. We do have a wave though, and it's quite tough here. We want to use our E, okay? Because people will be slowed, obviously, and they won't be able to dash away though. Maybe a little bit over aggressive, actually. I got too excited as well. I mean, if a Grandmaster Challenger player is going to get excited about, you know, getting over the wall to kill those people, then so am I, and I'm sure you will as well, but there are limitations, yeah. So obviously the ultimate, as I said, less range early, more range later. Few shifts in terms of how you can get on and move, you know, on and off the wall that you create. And nicely, if you get damaged, you won't be able to use it for 3 seconds. So it does remove her ability to take damage in escape situations. So you're not going to find a Taliyah in a problem, in a tough spot, and she's just going to ult away like before. It's going to give you 3 seconds to do something about it. And obviously, if you keep, you know, doing damage to her, then she's not going to be able to escape. So a little bit of probing here, although I'm not entirely sure that was 100% necessary, considering, you know, we're not fully tracking the Graves in this video. But if we were tracking the Graves properly, then we would know that he was probably taking all those camps. Now, the Quinn is, her name is very accurate for the type of game she's having here. Lucian dashes in, and he will fall 100%. But here's Taliyah. Okay, let's have a look. We're chucking a Q over the wall. If we were to Q that again, we'd hit the boulder and the slow, so you can use that as well. But obviously, the low cooldown on the Q now, that is much better, okay? It's a second off on rank 1, and it's a second off at rank 2. So you definitely have it up more often. Excuse me. Half a second. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, you just need it. I'm keeping it up here because I'm not going to BS you and be like, yeah, I studied it. I remembered all the notes. No, of course not. It's subtle in a lot of places, but it feels good. And that's the thing about League. It's not only the technical, the data, the science, the numbers of everything. It's also how does it feel when you play it, you know, in that muscle memory and in the moments when you're tight spots when half a second really means something. And in those cases, it really, really does. So again, we have the E here. Now, we've placed it in a position where if she tried to Q back in, she'd be dashing, she'd be stunned. So it's an anti-Aurelia tool as well, specifically if you think about mid-lane matchups, but also you can use it properly. Ooh, I think we... Yeah, we all need a little luck every now and then. And for a good video showcasing the power of Taliyah jungle, the E is the biggest shift for me. Then this is a very, very good one. Obviously, if you have smite, you can smite the red, take the red, and try and flank for something. But you do have to be cautious because they do a lot of damage, and you're still squishy. Ward placed. Bard goes first. Is Lucian going to fall for it? Nice. Done with the Q on the wall. And... auto attacks on the butt. Come on. You can do it, Brad. Get him. Got him. We trust in the Brad. Very nice dude. He's having a magical game. So we go back to base. So obviously don't overcommit and die. Don't want to give shutdowns. Now, we're 18 stacks on the Mejais. Obviously in early Mejais is a classical Taliyah move because your snowballing is so disgusting. But that longer E, really, I'm in love with it. You know, the boulder you're not really seeing as much because the particles are a little bit on the skin, a little bit hidden. Actually, it's not as obvious. Like there, you see there's the boulder that we just saw. And the slow and double damage is nice, but it's not something that, I mean, I like that there's now a double usage. That's why all the damage up front on your regular Q is less, right? There's less damage on your regular Q because there's more on the boulder follow-up. So you do have to remember that as well. The Q will do less damage than you expect. Okay, so do keep that in mind. Now here we have the stunned, we have the knockback, we still have the W. That's exactly what we're going to do. Beautiful dodge. Oh, that dodge of the... See, this isn't luck. That's skill right there. That is exquisite dodging of the piercing arrow from the Varus and then moving using that E for explosion and then slows. Beautifully done. So that, all of that, that's normal stuff, you know, that's standard Taliyah stuff, but I enjoyed watching that. I hope you did too. You better be enjoying it. You must enjoy this. This is a rule. 5 points into Q, 2 points into E at this point. The range for this, 2-5, 4-5, 6-5, okay? Cooldown is, of course, quite high early. We are having a Herald battle here, so I like the fact that we're sequencing up for this. You see that... Stop dashing on the E, bruv. The Graves, he can't get it through his brain. He's just like this, he just cannot get it through his brain. I mean, we lose the Herald, obviously, but it's so funny. You guys are going to have a lot of fun. I don't think we can help you, the Victor. I don't think we can save you. I don't think it's something we can do. Man, the Taliyah is living on the edge this game. Standard W combo, as you can see, and obviously the E's get consumed there as well. So any other details I can give to you while we're currently doing this? So we're going back to base here. We'll finish our Ludens. We can go into our Zonyas. You can go to your Morellos as necessary, your Death Cap. I guess not really much to add other than, you know, the damage is up the board, up front on the E everywhere. Basically more damage to compensate for not having damage on the W. And there's no detonation damage after 4 seconds. And the monsters always get the max duration of stunnage when you use your E on them. So, I mean, it allows you a clear, which we didn't really talk about. Go look at my friend Phalaris' channel. I will link the video below. 303 her full clear can be. So that's absolutely obscene. And now we're going to see, right, the gold lead once more is equal. And it's still 26 to 15. But the gold lead is equal. No dragons. 1 herald. A lot of fighting, a lot of movement, but that's what Taliyah likes. She's one of these be everywhere junglers with her movement to be passive, which of course now is more graceful, and their ultimate. So we want to make sure we can drive that home, and once you have this lead, the pick potential just became so much stronger. I mean, everyone was always worried about the Taliyah combo in the bush, but now you can't leave, you know? I wonder if they're going to change the radius or the size of it a little bit. Something I'm thinking about. She could use some more buffs in the jungle specifically, I think, not in terms of clear speed, but I'm not sure how they could do that, because a win rate overall, I think, is not necessarily the champion being... Get stunned, get knocked up and get stunned, and that's how we do it. Beautifully done over the wall, really completely disrespecting it. I think a little bit frustrated and tilted. I think, you know, we like to talk about all these dashy movement-based champions, and I'm sure it works with Gale Force as well. This is it. This is your pick. You know, we have Poppy now. We have this. Apparently Vex is a champion, but we're, you know, this is way more visceral and way more engaging, way more, it's just easier to understand for me in terms of thinking about Poppy and Taliyah in terms of how they're anti-dash champions. I don't really think Vex fills that niche nearly as much as these two do at the moment. Obviously, we can That was nutty. That was nice. And 25 stacks with the Ludens equals you are still the assassino Taliyah you've always wanted to be. You are the assassin. Move into the jungle again, though. I think we should be I think he's focusing on the Taliyah at this point, you know, thinking deeply about, not necessarily deeply, but just thinking about the Taliyah. And we're not really thinking too much about a power thing. Because, I mean, if everyone's goon squatting up here, you can assume they took this on the way. And then moving down here with no prior, with Lucian still alive, you're losing, you know, I have no idea what the vision is. You know, a little bit over-aggressive on the power thing there. Unnecessary, really, but hey, you gotta go and push the limits of your champion as much as possible. I was gonna say test the limits, and then push the limits, and you heard the noise that you heard. I uploaded a video on the main channel and did a lot of recording today, so language, it'd be difficult at the moment. However, no objectives on the map here. We do have the enemy team sieging. It is, again, still an equal gold lead. The kills don't matter. Brad is going to throw out an ult. Doesn't really do anything, so he doots in disappointment. Taliyah is now shadowing, using a movement speed passive. Again, the 2.5 second fall-off period. Really, really nice. Quinn is taking this. I don't think you deserve that. Yeah, I'm going to take that for myself. Thank you very much. I don't know why she thinks she can get that. Look at how the Raptor Chem just gets absolutely decimated. The E, really, I'm in love with the E. Honestly, the W is whatever at this point. You know, I really feel it's significant. Its power is diminished, which is good, which is kind of what we wanted to have. Whoa, the red buff smite. Beautifully done. Excellent ult. Jumped off. Throws out the E. Covers the entire minion wave. You've got the W knockup as well. Use in whatever direction you please. And if they dash out, they will die. Beautifully done. Again, probably said that a lot this video, but hey, you know what? When it is, I will say it. Now, let's just see. Maybe I can discuss... While we follow the Taliyah around here, let me see what we can add in a little bit for the wall technical data and changes, just to help you understand that as well. As I said, I didn't remember everything, not gonna lie to you. Dash range when jumping off the wall, 400 to 700 units, almost double how far you go when you jump off the wall, and how fast you go, 1000 speed to 1200 speed, so you can jump further and you can jump faster. And we are not quite stronger and bigger, but your damage is, and that boulder is for sure. Out of base here, rotate to the top lane, especially if they're overcommitting. I don't know exactly what they're doing on the enemy team at this point. The gold leads was equal, but that upfront damage on that E isn't... Right? It's just... Wow. It's a lot of damage. I do think there's an obvious reason why she's doing so well in mid lane. When you can take up the whole wave with your E, basically, and make it impossible to disengage on a gank, and you also have the W as a follow-up, and of course you have the boulder, which you can use to consume and use on reworked ground. On worked ground. I don't know why I keep saying reworked ground. Well, I know why, but come on. It makes sense, you know, but it definitely still is strong in the jungle. I think it's just a general matchup problem, and people are just kind of brute forcing, which you don't really necessarily need to do as Taliyah. That counts as a dash, sir, which means you get stunned. Man, I wish that boulder animation was a little bit better, because I'd love to, you know, I'd like to see it a bit more clearly, and I know you guys can't really on the skin, but overall, you're getting it, right? She uses the Q, then she Qs again. It's a big-ass boulder, which you can chuck on people to slow them. Hello, Graves. Just keep your spacing. The Q spam is exactly as it's been. There's a reason there's less damage up front because of the boulder. See, there you go. Absolutely huge damage. Nothing's really changed in terms of that playstyle. It just seems like a modernized version, doesn't it? Which is really great. Anyway, so obviously with that ultimate change in terms of range shift as well as the speed shift, and I told you something about that as well. Dashing when jumping off the wall is now more forgiving when trying to dash through terrain, which is good because the quality of life and those kinds of things, you don't know unless you main the champion or play it a lot, and then when it's fixed, you're like, oh, that feels so much better. And I love it when they do that with champions, and it can really take champions half a percentage high in win rate depending on what the bug fixes or quality of life changes are. Like Vi, for example, around the arcane buffs, the infamous arcane buffs. So that was an equal gold lead. Then we collapsed and covered top lane. Then we made great picks here. Then we again made more kills in their jungle, pushing them out very, very nicely. We did give up a dragon. Obviously, we're not talking too much about jungling in this game, more about the champion, but we can bring it home now with jungling, I think. What do we have here? We have 25 stacks. We've got Morellas for the anti-heal. We have here a Omnivamp, Lifesteal. Do we need Morellas for this? Again, I don't really think so. In the next patch, when everything's up again and healing is down, the damage resistances, the magic resist and armor resistance, those will be increasing in patch 12.10, and the healing will be down. I don't really think we're going to need to worry too much about these items. Like, what people are not talking about, though, with the E is as a zoning tool. you know. In the middle of a team fight, if people are split, you can just kind of slap it in between, and if they want to dash to help each other, they cannot. Here we go, ult through the wall, jumping off, activating the Herald again. The mobility of the ult isn't just for rotating, it's also for good macro plays. Just spamming the Q from the side, moving the E in case someone wants to disrespect it. Again, the boulder got chucked there, you would have seen that. Try and pay close attention to it. We consume the ground, so now we have regular Q. Now we're, okay, there you go, there's another boulder. Gets a slow, extra damage, and he goes in for some particular reason, and the Ignite, Nautilus shield. Very, very close. Nautilus shield though. And we activate the Herald on the bottom side. This really just escalated so quickly, but it's the Taliyah's damage and her ability to just threaten the map. Now, may or may not have been 4v2 dove 3 times today from a mid lane Taliyah. So, the pain is fresh. I don't like it when she's mid-meta. Varus, why are you doing this? This is not the way, my friend. Okay, he misses the ult. He tried to Gale Force the E. Oh man, it is absolutely nutty. The boulder too is pretty heavy. The boulder is a pretty heavy hitter. I actually kind of like the boulder. I wasn't sure how I was gonna like it. Using the Zhonya's there, Lucian tries to ult but gets ignited, and now through the wall, same thing. Using your kiting, we get smoke screened. We have to flash out, unfortunately, because Graves still does a lot of damage. Now we can siege. Ezreal's currently in the top lane. Ult coming through. Well, no, it's not going to do anything. Oh! I stand corrected. I stand absolutely corrected. That was so anticlimactic of me. I don't know. There you go. I'm going to keep that in. I'm not going to re-record that. I'm going to keep that in. I just haven't had, you know, the most trust in Ezreal ults lately. I've performed a lot, and they've just gone off the side of the map, so my trust is back now. Next time I'll be more enthusiastic about the possibility of that wiping out the Nautilus. Hey, good job, man. Well played. Now, we do, in fact, want an Baron, but, yeah, back to our point. Yeah, I mean, the HP is nice. She did like Rylai's, obviously, because the slow allows it to, it's easier for you to hit your full combo, it's easier for you to hit your W, it's easier for you to hit your Qs and your follow-up Qs. Could that still be a thing if you need some HP in your build? Yes, but you can afford to go straight full AP, Deathcap, Void, you know, Giga Chad mode. Nothing's stopping you, but of course you will be significantly more squishy. So, as you can see, with the Morellas doing enough work, knockback there, get hooked, E cooldown coming up. We do have our boulder plus our Q as we need, and our E's up again. So the cooldown at this point is 9.23 seconds, and the Q at this point is 1.92 seconds, thanks to the build we have. Let's look at the healing reduced, 38. So, proving, again, you can't see it. I'm not lying to you. Match history is always linked below, so you can go have a look if you want. Go download all the data, click it, and you can confirm. But 38, I don't think is really worth that. I mean, obviously the AP plus the HP, but then you could just do Shadow Flame. You know, you could absolutely just do Shadow Flame at this point. And again, all of this will shift in the next patch when all the resistances and, you know, the damage goes down and the tankiness goes up a little bit. All of this will change a little bit. So we're going to have a huge new meta of itemization and champions that thrive with the new statistics that everyone will have. Look at the movement speed. Here we go. Okay, nice try by the Graves to try and set the trap of the Eclipse and the lethality build. Turns into the rest of the team. Doesn't really matter. Now, Taliyah's poking from the side here. We do want to maintain our distance. We do get airborne. That won't really matter. We throw out the E. Again, huge zone. Double kill for the Taliyah. Just chucking her boulders as well as her Qs off. You see the range there? Definitely a bigger range when you jump off of the wall. And now again, we do have E up. We want to make sure we can use it. There you go. Almost died, and we didn't quite have it, but still a lot of damage and beautifully played. Spacing is the most important thing with Taliyah. Really looks fun, modernized, the right changes. Excellent job to Riot August and everyone over there. So that's for once we can say, you know what? I don't really have much to add. I'm curious about the jungle win rate though. That is something, I understand why, but at the same time, it's not, as I said, it's not really like a different version of Taliyah. It's just an updated version of Taliyah with like full access to a kit. It almost is like we've unlocked what her kit always was, and now it plays properly. So, yeah. Anything else that I haven't said that might be generally important? I think there's obviously a lot of nitty-gritty, tiny things. You guys can go and read the rest of that for yourselves. But, yeah, I mean, at this point, Deathcap, you're going to see a lot of damage now. You're going to see a lot of damage now. We're going to go for this dragon. Jungling-wise, this was more about testing the limits of Taliyah. I'm glad I found this game for that, because You don't always want a purely... You don't want a purely, you know, technical jungle video with low kills and then minimal pathing. Sorry, lots of pathing, minimal fighting. And we don't really get to see the champion. Like, she's really chucking W's, chucking E's, chucking Q's, throwing boulders, really pushing the limits and the lead of the game with this champion that she has, which is what you want to see when there's a rework. Now, he's splitting on the top side. Quinn is just going to kind of probe here. We have killed the Graves and the Nautilus, which means, has this been wrong the whole time? I apologize profusely. And we can just push it down here. Lucian is going to reset. I mean, look at the zoning you have. Whoa, that Varus coming out. He was also buffed, right? So that Varus damage, big, 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 big. He is great. Look at the zone. No one can dash here. No one can dash here whatsoever. Does everyone remember the Ravenous Hydra? We just wanted Ravenous Hydra to look at the spacing. Just keep your spacing. Throw out your E's. Throw out your E's and keep your spacing. Great performance. Thank you so much. V2E7 for showing us Reworked Taliyah and a real carry performance. 26, 2 and 16, by far most damage in the game. Nice away to Lucian, Graves, Aurelia, Gale Force, Varus, and a Nautilus, which means everyone could be stunned by her E. The draft decisions you can come with in solo queue now, people are going to actually have to think about it. Really, really interesting. Hope you enjoyed it, learned something. Please do leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff if you did. Main channel just got a great coaching video for those of you who are looking for a bit more mistake and low to mid MMR kind of content. That will be on that channel. Patreon has your coaching VODs and coaching signups. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial. Rock solid.